Hey guys, welcome back to another stream. Thank you so much for joining me on a Saturday afternoon. It kind of like a weird time, but it was like a really good time for the two of us. And so, as always, if you have any questions, any comments, drop them because I absolutely love seeing your comments, replying to your questions. I want to try to make this as interactive as possible for you guys. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff in this stream. And without further ado, I'm joined by my friend Kirill. He is part of the Chelsea Social with me. He also runs an awesome Russian YouTube page that has like over 20,000 subscribers. It's insane. So Kirill, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you doing?
Yeah, hello Ellie. Thanks for inviting at least. It's an amazing opportunity for me to speak a little bit of English, especially for our beloved team. As for my things, let's say it's more or less fine nowadays, and I hope that also Chelsea will come back to the winning days as soon as possible. And let's start the stream.
I hope so. I'm seeing there's so many people saying with love from Russia. So all of your people are coming to support you. That's so awesome. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Really appreciate that. That's really cool. We're very international over here. So if you guys tell me where you're from, let me know. I really like knowing that stuff as well. I don't know. But yeah, being a Chelsea fan, it's been like a hard month and a half recently. We just have been not on a good run of form. And I first wanted to ask you about something that I know a lot of Chelsea fans are wondering about, and that's Tomori's loan deal with an option to buy to Milan. What do you think about that? How are you feeling?
Well, there are some ways we can speak about this loan deal. As for Chelsea Football Club, it's a disaster, as I can see, because we're given a very good center back who is, I believe, much better than Rudiger and Christensen. At least he's more perspective, let's say. He has a bright future, and he is a part of Chelsea Academy. So I love the players who are from our club, who are from their kids' moments. They are studying in Chelsea, and it's very hard to let them go. But here it's also a very good perspective for the club, especially when Chelsea is a very lack of center backs right now. But from other points of view, for Milan, amazing deal. They're buying a very good center back who is growing up still, and I think also for Tomori, it's a very nice a chance to see how he can move on. He at least can play finally, because here in Chelsea he is a fifth choice center back. I'm out of words about that, so I really don't get it. He should be at least third, right before Zuma and Thiago Silva, but no, it's not happening. And also, Italy is a very good place for defensive players to prove themselves and also to adapt there, to advance. I think that he will have a great half of a season, and probably Milan will buy him because this sell-on clause. I don't believe that we even did it. No idea why. But as far as I understood, Milan wanted it, and they wanted it less. So from the business point of view, Chelsea did well, because it's still not a complete player, and 30 million for a defender, it's very good. But we all know that Tomori will be much more in some years, I think, already.
Yeah, I think that Milan really got a bargain with that deal. And I was surprised that Chelsea included the option to buy because 30 million euros really is not a lot for Tomori. I don't think. I know that he's still young, but I was just surprised how he just got frozen out of the team. And it just felt like he was doing so well. He was the first choice, one of the first choice center back pairings with Zuma at the start of last season. And then he got injured, never got back into the team. And it's just been like very weird treatment, as you said, to like not even starting above Rudiger and Christensen, who I really don't think have been playing well at all. So at that point, it's like, well, he's still young. He needs to develop himself. He needs to really be playing week in and week out. But I think that the buy option was a little bit silly. But that being said, Chelsea have so many youngsters, and it's going to be really hard to hold on to all of them, because they all want to be playing. They all want to play week in, week out. I know a lot of them don't want to settle for just being second choice or third choice. That's why we saw Tariq Lamptey go as well, because he didn't really see a path up, because Reece James really had that right back spot nailed down. So I'm upset about it, but for Tomori, I'm happy for him. But it's kind of a blow. I guess we'll see if Milan end up buying him at the end of the season, but I don't see why they wouldn't. I think it would be kind of silly if they didn't. But let's see with that. We're getting a couple of questions in here. But I wanted to first talk about Lampard's presser yesterday. Did you happen to watch it? What did you think about it?
Yeah, I watched this part of the press conference. I watched. I looked how. Firstly, I read it and saw that yes, Lampard was rushed into Liam Toomey, and I thought, wow, whoa, take it easy. I should look at how he did say that, and. Yeah, there was. I cannot say that it was plenty of emotions. It was just a straight answer. It was quite rough. It was quite angry, sad, but it was not non-emotional. So it's not so bad as you can expect that. As for the target, Liam Toomey, I think it was not a very suitable one, because he's quite a loyal journalist, as for me, and his articles are amazing. I usually read them, and he is one of the main reasons I really bought the subscription to The Athletic. And I also translate much of his articles to the Russian audience, because I think they should read also these quite notable articles by history of Kai Havertz, for example, or some tactical materials he also have. And yeah, he was quite loyal, and I think he was quite objective when he was saying anything. Any criticism was quite well known and well deserved, as for me. And I believe that I can understand Lampard at that situation, because he's fed up already with these questions about what are you thinking about your second? What are you thinking about new candidates on your instead of you? And so on. And there were so many questions about that yesterday. He didn't even was able to give us any updates on the first team. He did that after the press conference. He said that Kante out, but online he didn't say anything, because too many questions, and they were all similar. They were all aggressive. English press, it's always like this. So yeah, he just went to some boiling point, I think, and he said it quite roughly, but more or less I can understand that. It's said that Lampard did say that, because, for example, I have a nice picture of Lampard here. He is one of my idols, and when he's saying that pressure helps him to concentrate on his work, that it motivates him. Here you can see that sometimes pressure breaks him also. And from that point of view, you can understand that, yes, he is also a human. So it's a little bit sad, but it's understandable, as for me.
I know that there were a couple of articles out. Like there was one talking about like German managers that could replace Lampard, but I know that Toomey didn't write that one, so that's why I was really confused, because I felt a lot of people were referencing that article, but that was Simon Johnson, and I read Liam Toomey's article about like the tactical flaws that we've seen in Chelsea. I really didn't think anything was wrong with it. I thought that it was a really well written article, and it's like, for me personally, it's like, well, we do have a lot of issues with our tactics, we do have a lot of players that are not looking for the forward pass. We have a lot of players that are playing it too safe. We have a lot of gaps in between the lines, between the midfield and the defense, which makes it extremely easy for players of the opposite team to just slice through us. So I didn't think that anything that Liam had said was bad, really. Like, there are issues and Lampard needs to correct them. So I was really shocked that Lampard especially directed it at him. I understand that there's a lot of pressure that comes with the job, and even more so when Chelsea are in such a massive slump, losing I think 5 out of 8 games. But for Liam, I didn't think that the question he asked was bad. I didn't think he really deserved that response. Honestly, I thought that what he wrote was totally fair. What do you expect him to write? Chelsea have not been playing well. I think I saw, I saw somebody say that.
And for example, if it was a journalist from Sky Sports, for example, okay, it's understandable because sometimes they're pissing a lot on Chelsea and on Lampard, and sometimes they can spread not so true rumors about him. But Liam, he was one of the best journalists I have ever seen for working for Chelsea. So I think that it was very strange. He was the most wrong person that Lampard can hammer into.
Yeah, I don't know, the piece that I'm referencing was just about tactics, which I find pretty black and white. It's either you passed the ball or you didn't pass it. You had gaps or you didn't have them. And I think that we've seen that the players' performances really haven't been up to par. So I do think it makes sense to criticize where it's due. I didn't think that it was rude at all, honestly. Appy says he was downgrading stuff about Havertz. He said very downgrading stuff about Havertz. I'm not sure what specifically he said. I just remember, I don't know if it was this.
I remember the tweet about my that he said, "What am I supposed to say to my grandchildren when Havertz is not running into the space created?" Well, it's just fun, I think, and if you are not able to get jokes like this, you should never read Twitter. You should never go to YouTube or other social media.
Yeah, it was a joke. It wasn't, maybe not the best joke.
It was a rough joke, but still understandable.
I've seen it from other people, maybe from journalists. You wouldn't expect it. Jack agrees with you, Appy, that it was off the mark. But I do think that Havertz does need to do better. Somebody goes, this isn't anything new in the English press. Yeah. Managers calling out press happens. I think the other thing with Chelsea is that we're just so used to not having results and then sacking the managers, and it's kind of this circle that just keeps happening. So that as soon as there's a bad run of form for Chelsea managers, you're going to get questions about, who's the next manager? Are you going to sack blah blah blah? Because and
it's not only about Chelsea. I think it's for most managers in Premier League and the press in England. It's really harsh all the time. They're doing a lot of pressure all the time, and from the days when Jose Mourinho was our coach, he was always underlining that, and that was really like this all the time. It was also for example, Slaven Bilic and his West Bromwich. I think from the second or from the third week, game week, they were asking him to leave and who will be his successor and so on.
So I don't know. I have a question for you. It's in Russian. I can't read Russian, so I hope that does it say anything bad?
He is asking if our owner, our founder, let's say, is a woman, and he is surprised a little bit. So mainly he is asking about who is who started SW6.
Oh, for SW6. It was originally started by Michele, and then it got passed to Demi, and then it got passed to me and Jay, and then I gave my part to Jam and just kind of switched roles with him to be like the media head since I started the YouTube channel. So do you think that in the press conference, Lampard was kind of protecting the players a bit with his answer, or do you think that it was still like harsh how he said it?
Yes, it was. I think he meant to save the players, save them from extra pressure, and yeah, it was kind of defense, but it was still a harsh defense, let's say. So he could act more politely, I guess, especially against Liam Toomey. I'm still it's breaking my heart. Frank Lampard is my favorite player, and Liam Toomey is one of my favorite journalists. and they're in the quarrel hole.
Yeah, I thought that Liam took it really well as well, Appy, and he came out and tweeted like, "It's okay. I just want Chelsea to do well." So I'm glad that he took it. If Frank Lampard said that to me, I think I would have broken down in tears on the spot.
Just close your Zoom conference and the journalist career. But yeah, Liam responded very well and very wisely, I think. And if there is a battle between Lampard and Toomey, I guess Toomey won by his politeness.
Somebody says that you look like one of their old colleagues from work. So it's funny.
Okay, no, I've never been in Bulgaria and I've never played Dota. I don't even know how does it look like, really. No idea what is this game about at all.
I don't know what it's about. Somebody asked, will Tomori return this summer? He'll only return if Milan don't trigger the option to buy that they have in his contract.
By the way, Nizar Kinsella told us that he doesn't believe that Tomori will be bought because Milan don't have enough money. But they're still the leaders of Serie A, and Champions League football means extra money for them. So I think they will find some 30 million euros. It's not so much for a football club.
And for a young defender as well, you're going to have him for, if he does well, you have him 7-10 years easily. So it would be a good investment on their part in my end.
I'm not crying.
Somebody asked, we kind of spoke about this already, but just to make sure we're answering the questions, do you think Tomori's move to AC Milan is a good move? We kind of spoke about this, but I think it's a good move for Tomori. For Chelsea, I think it's questionable. I think that they kind of got really unlucky with selling players or loaning out players at the end of the summer, because we saw that Rudiger was supposed to be sold or loaned out somewhere, and then that kind of fell through, and then Tomori didn't go out on loan, and all of this kind of like played into each other. It was weird, and then we just had too many center backs competing for too few spots. So for Tomori to be able to play and to get consistent game time, I think it's a great move for him. But I do think that he was really promising center back. So I personally rate him higher than Christensen or Rudiger. That's just my opinion. But, that being said, we have so many talented youngsters. We're not going to be able to see all of them play in the first team. It just sucks. That's how the way it is. Everybody. Okay.
I still. What?
No, nothing. What were you going to say?
I also think that we should understand how does it work in the club. So I do believe that our club hierarchy is not so stupid to sell Tomori, but there is no possibility to sell anyone else. So we know that Alonso is pushing for an exit, and Chelsea would like to sell him. Kepa, I think, also would like to try something else. And as for Rudiger and Christensen, Chelsea wants to get rid of them. We can see that, for example, for Christensen, the contract is running out next summer, and the Chelsea is not pursuing to prolong it. So probably Chelsea would like to sell him, but there are no buyers for Rudiger or for Christensen. They were trying to sell Antonio in last summer. And for Christensen, I think also we're trying to push to find something. But now you can see that the only liquid center back we have, the only one who could be sold is Tomori. Yeah, it's very sad, but that's how business works. Also, we should keep in mind financial fair play, and we bought quite a lot of players last summer, so we need to sell. And if it's not possible to sell the third and the fourth choice, yeah, you need to sell the one who is going to be sold.
Yeah, I think it's also a result of the financial implications that teams just aren't getting revenue. They just don't have that much money because fans aren't allowed into stadiums, and for a long time, like, football wasn't even being played. So last summer, football teams just did not have money to buy players, so we couldn't sell players either. We couldn't offload them, and we also want to make sure we're getting a more or less price valuation equal to what we think for the players, not just sell them for the sake of selling them. Somebody asked, what are your views as to why Kepa suddenly downgraded so much under Frank? Is it personal issues or certain style of play is needed for Frank's style of football? I think that he was like a little bit overrated, by myself included, in the first season. Like, if we looked at his statistics, he didn't actually make like that many saves. He was playing a little bit more with his feet under Sarri, and he made a couple of like very noticeable saves, like that penalty save where he saved it in between his legs, and he made a couple of good ones. But I didn't think, like, looking back, it's clear that he wasn't like ever outstanding. But then last season, it was just completely down the drain. I think confidence plays a big role in it. If you're just constantly letting goals in and you have the limelight on you, I think that it really gets to you if you don't have the strong mentality, especially for goalkeepers. I think it's one of the most difficult positions to play, because you're basically, if you let a goal in, people are always going to look at you to see if you're at fault for the goal. And many times I think Kepa was. Many times he just couldn't do anything about it. Maybe should have gotten into better positions. But I just don't think that he's good enough for the Premier League. It's harsh reality for me, but that's just my opinion. What do you think, Kirill?
I was one of the most famous defenders of Kepa Arrizabalaga in Russian social media since the start of last season. Yeah, he was never so good, as you already said. I think that his first season with Sarri, he was like Mendy right now. So he did some nice saves. Sometimes he saved that he should save, and not so many goals by his fault. But yeah, if we can see the advanced statistics there, we can see that he should have saved more. As for last season, yeah, I think it was a nightmare for any goalkeeper. It would be a nightmare for any goalkeeper. It doesn't stick with the Kepa. I think if Mendy was our goalkeeper last season, it would be quite or less the same. Yeah, he lost confidence, of course, because the defense was there was no defense, let's say, frankly speaking. And I guess that Kepa wasn't in any trouble with Frank Lampard. None of that. They still, I think, have quite good relations. And I do like the reaction of Kepa in the social media and the press when they ask him, for example, about Mendy. He said, "Yes, I understand that I failed. I understand that I made quite a lot of mistakes. Last season was very tough for me, but I will keep hard work, and hopefully I will battle for the number one in the squad." So it's a very, very good reaction. I like that a lot, and I still support Kepa just for his for his internal qualities. He may be not so good for Premier League. He is definitely not the second Petr Cech, but he's quite a good guy, and hopefully he will restrain his confidence. We saw his great moments. For example, his FA Cup quarterfinal against Liverpool. It was fifth round, I think. Yeah. Also, Super Cup, European Super Cup was very good performance for him, and there he's shown that he is able to save us, and he is able to perform well. Hopefully, he will get back soon, but I guess not with Chelsea, at least.
Yeah, it seems he might be on a loan back to Spain. We did get an interesting question from Primas, I want to say. Sorry if I totally butchered the name. Who do you guys think is going to leave out of the Chelsea youngsters and become the next Lukaku, De Bruyne, Mohamed Salah? Do you have anybody in mind that you think probably not their time for Chelsea, but they could potentially make it really big in another team? It's a tough one.
Yeah, it's a very tough one. We right now we have too many center midfielders, and I cannot see any room, for example, for Conor Gallagher. I do like his talent very much. He is extremely talented, and he is one of the best in West Bromwich right now. He saved them quite a lot of points already, and they don't have much. And I don't believe that next season he will become suddenly a Chelsea player. I think he will go on loan, and at one point he will get some extra experience. But on another hand, he will be fed up with this loan system. I think that he will ask for a transfer or something like this, and potentially we can lose him. But I hope that not.
I hope not. Yeah. It's hard because he plays in midfield, which we have congested, but I do think we're going to have quite a few players sold from our current midfield. So hopefully the stars align for him and he'll be able to make it into the team. That's actually the first name that popped in my mind as well when I saw this question. Another one could be Ethan Ampadu. Maybe, I don't know if he's been kind of battling with the first team for a couple of years, got put out on a couple of loans, haven't really worked out. I thought Sheffield was going to be really good loan, and they've been playing really bad football this year. So yeah, I don't know, but I really hope that we don't have that issue, honestly. So let's move now. We're about halfway through already to the Luton game tomorrow. How are you feeling about it?
It should definitely be a smashing game. I believe that Chelsea should easily win, and it will be kind of a training match for Chelsea. I don't disrespect Luton, of course, but I think that they're no match for us, and hopefully the game will be easily done in the first half. And then, for example, Frank Lampard will try to switch things around, try some new tactics, some new combinations, and something like this, because otherwise there will be no chance at all till next season, and probably Lampard won't have this season, unfortunately, because other teams, there are Premier League teams left in FA Cup, and then already Champions League, Premier League games, and it's the last easy opponent we will have this season, I guess.
Yeah. I think in the next round, the FA Cup as well, we also
also the next one,
Barnsley,
Norwich.
Yeah, or Norwich, yeah. So I don't know, like for me, it's just such an important game because it's realistically our only chance of winning a trophy this season. And I think that Frank knows that he has a lot of pressure. Could you just imagine if there's some sort of upset and Chelsea do not win that game? Could you? I don't know what would happen. I
know Lampard will be fired by Monday then.
I would be worried for his job, honestly, if that were to happen, because I still have this comment up and I didn't realize. I do think that Chelsea absolutely need to win this game, and they're probably going to field a pretty strong team to do so. So I wanted to go through and see like what your starting 11 would be. We can just go position by position and talk about it. So in goalkeeper, who would you have?
No, definitely Kepa. It's one of his probably one of his last matches, and it will be 101st one. No, I don't think that Edouard Mendy will be needed for this game, and also it will show some potential clients how Kepa is performing right now. So probably someone will say, "Oh, this guy is playing very good against Luton. We should buy him, or we should loan him, or something like this."
I hope so. Okay, so taking a look at the back four, it's kind of tricky because we've actually seen Antonio Rudiger jump up in the pecking order. It's been like one of the most shocking things for me. I really don't understand it. I don't. I would have kept Zuma. I thought that he was doing a better job, and I thought that Rudiger looked okay versus Fulham, but he wasn't really tasked with that much either. And then versus Leicester, just like a disaster. So who would you play? Let's start at right back. I think we both agree that Azpilicueta will probably play.
Yeah, definitely.
Game. Definitely. And then the center back pairing, who do you go for? Because we do have Wolves on Wednesday as well. So I'm sure that Frank is going to be keeping that in mind a little bit. Like, oh, I have to rotate players for this Wolves game.
I can say that 100% sure Tomori won't play tomorrow. Unfortunately. But as for the center backs, talking about Rudiger, I was also shocked by this decision. But then when I looked into the advanced metrics after the game, I understood that the idea was that Rudiger's nice long balls, he is playing there very well, were most of the time directed to Pulisic, and it was let's say one of the ways to get into the attack, and I think that it should have worked, but Pulisic was not so good that evening. He was quite bad at the ball. He was losing it too much, and that didn't work out. Also, I think that Rudiger is a little bit faster one than, for example, Kurt Zuma, and against Vardy it makes sense, but still it didn't at all. I'm still shocked that Zuma didn't start 2 matches in a row, so it's quite shockable for me, and I would say that Zuma should start tomorrow, but yeah, as you already said, we are having on Wednesday evening Wolverhampton, so Zuma and Silva should play there, and Rudiger and Christensen should be the pair for tomorrow afternoon, I think.
Yeah.
And as for left back, I think we also would agree that Emerson should start definitely. Also, Chilwell was not so well in last games, and probably if Emerson is performing like he did against Morecambe, probably he can even start on Wednesday. I don't know, but there is a possibility, I think.
I feel like the whole team was just really, really bad, bar Mason Mount and Mendy. Maybe Thiago Silva versus Leicester. Like the entire team was just like in shambles. It was a really difficult game to watch, but I think it kind of goes back to the team just not having confidence, not having the confidence to move forward, to play a forward pass. They just like want to hold on to possession, pass the ball sideways, and you just don't progress the ball like that. You can't walk the ball into the back of the net. You have to at least take some chance to move the ball forward. And we saw Chilwell doing that earlier in the season. He's not doing it anymore. We saw Pulisic doing it. He's not doing it. It's just overall very frustrating. I agree with your back four. I don't know what Lampard is going to do, honestly. Like, who even knows?
Center midfielders.
Maybe he will start Rudiger versus Wolves and play Zuma and Christensen. I don't know, but I think that he needs to find a back pair and stick with it for the Premier League, because we've seen that I feel like most successful Premier League teams have their back four sorted, and you know that those are going to be the 4 players that are always playing week in, week out, and they can deal with it, you know, and when you are always changing the center back, changing the sides that they play on, it changes the communication with the back line. They don't get to build chemistry. Maybe difficult for the goalie as well. Maybe you get used to positioning and everything, communication. So I hope that we start seeing Zuma and Silva again as the main center back pairing. that's just me. Yeah, guys, let me know what you think about the center backs. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. So now moving up to the pitch, in that midfield spot, who do you start? And maybe if you have a preference of formation, I really don't have a preference at this point, but what formation do you think? Oh, well.
As Frank Lampard said on his press conference yesterday, it doesn't mean if you play 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1. It doesn't matter. As for me, also, at least we don't have enough players for playing both of them. So we have problems with both of formations, and yeah, I don't have a preferred one for now, but I think that 4-3-3 is more balanced. So Lampard will stick with that for the next, at least some of next games. Definitely, Billy Gilmour should be a lone CDM.
What has been happening to Billy Gilmour? He just hasn't been starting. I can't wrap my head around it. He should be playing, I think.
Yeah, I also thought that after very, very bad Jorginho performances last games, I thought that maybe against Leicester, Billy Gilmour could start. At least it's a risk, but you remember Lampard was taking risks when we were playing Liverpool in the FA Cup last match, and against Everton, Billy Gilmour started, and he was amazing. From Jorginho, you already know how bad he is and how underperforming he is all the time. Unfortunately, the possibility that Gilmour will have an outstanding match is much higher than if Jorginho does.
Totally agree. And with Billy, at least you're giving him some minutes. He's a young player, just 19, but you know that he's going to really make the most of all those minutes. Every minute that he gets, he's going to learn from it. And we also know that he has a huge ceiling for his potential, so why not give him the minutes, especially in this FA Cup game? I understand that it is a must-win game, but I do think that Lampard should probably take a page out of Arteta's book and start playing more youngsters, because they're going to be the players that really want to fight for you, to impress. You know, they're hungry to impress, to showcase their talent, and I think that they could be really integral to what Frank is doing. So definitely for me, start Billy Gilmour. I saw this comment, I just thought it was funny. Ellie, you're the only thing I like about Chelsea. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. It's so funny. So,
yeah, if you would like to stop support Chelsea, just look at Ellie, and all these bad mind games will go away. Really.
My positivity will try to help you guys. So let's move up the pitch a little bit more now. Who do you play as those attacking aids if we're playing 4-3-3?
Well, I think that Iron Man Mason Mount will still be on the pitch. I don't know how you can make him exhausted. He's playing all the time. He was playing all the time last season. We were criticizing Frank for that because at the end of the season, we could see that Mount is underperforming sometimes. It was seen that, he is really exhausted of playing so much games. He didn't start. He was not in the squad only for Grimsby Town last season. So, I still cannot believe that. I was just making an overview of the season, so I remember this quite well. And when I saw this fact, I was so shocked that I still remember that.
Yeah.
And as for his progression and his abilities now, we can see that Lampard did right, I think. And now he has a 100% ready player for every match, and he can start whenever Lampard wants him to do so. So I think Mount would start, and also Kai Havertz should play, and I think more adaptation for him, more understanding of the game, and building more confidence like he did in the last FA Cup and last FA Cup match, and also his game against Barnsley.
Yeah, I think something important to note as well is that even if you play a 4-3-3, it doesn't have to be static. You can switch into a 4-2-3-1. We saw that versus Leicester, Mount came a little bit deeper to help out with the defensive work. I think he's gotten very good. His defensive game has definitely improved a lot, and so I think that we could even see Mount coming back a little bit, helping with the defensive work. We could see Kai Havertz shifting towards the middle, getting into those dangerous areas. I didn't think that he looked great versus Leicester in that 10 role, but I'm just going to write it off as a really bad game for everybody. Hope that he can play in this game. I do agree that those two should be the starters, and hopefully he can try to get some more confidence. He did get a goal versus Morecambe, so hopefully he can get another goal and start building a little bit. I really hoped that Morecambe win and the Fulham win were going to help the players a little bit, but it really seems that it did not. So hopefully we can just start again. And yeah, that's really all I have to say about it.
As for Harvard's comment, I would like to add that I think he was one of the best of our players in the attack against Leicester, because he's moving without the ball. It really upgraded since autumn. And I did like his opening into spaces. He found areas all the time, but most of the time, unfortunately, other guys didn't see him. Also, there was a very good tweet of Noman. He did a screenshot when Rhys James was having an opportunity to give the ball, a through ball, to Tammy Abraham or to Callum Hudson-Odoi. And it was a very, very wide corridor, so it was easily going through. But again, he decided to pass back. So it was the reason why Kai Havertz wasn't seen, because nobody wanted to risk. And as you already said, it's lack of confidence, of course. I think most of our players right now are playing like N'Golo Kante in attack, so they want to pass the ball 100% sure that the addresser will get it. So most of the time it's back passes or just side passes, not forward ones.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I saw that tweet from Newman. He's incredible at analysis. I really, really love his YouTube videos. And something else that I've just thought of is we've been seeing that we've been conceding a lot of goals on the counterattack as well, because we have so many players pressed forward, and we have the fullbacks pressed forward as well. So I think the players might even just be a little bit nervous, like, oh my God, if I give away the ball, then it could potentially lead to a goal, because we have so many players forward in the pitch, a big gap between the midfield and the defense. If you take out the midfield, you could do it with one pass, because we just don't have the players staying back, and then you could be 2v2 with the defense and could potentially create an easy goal situation for them. And I think that we've seen it a couple of times already this season. So Mark Goldbridge fan update also asked, do you think that the players aren't putting in enough effort? Do you think that they're not putting in enough effort, or that they're just so lacking confidence that everything just isn't coming off? What do you think?
Yeah, looks like that they're just drowned to the psychologically drowned, really. I don't believe that some of the players, for example, are against Frank Lampard, and in the names is Kai Havertz or Timo Werner. It's very strange. They were Frank Lampard was the reason why they were coming to this club. They on all interviews they were saying like, yes, one of main points why I chose Chelsea is Frank Lampard. Yeah, we know for Timo Werner it's also not making to Liverpool first of all, but still Lampard I think is a big member of this club, and he is I don't believe I don't get how somebody can go against Frank.
Yeah, no, I think that the frustrating thing, I think, for me was that after Leicester scored that first goal, after just 6 minutes, all of the players looked so rejected, like completely lacking energy. and it looks like they were thinking, we can't come back from this. I don't know how we're going to come back. Bar Mason Mount. I love Mason Mount because he gives 110% all of the time. He's always doing everything that he can to try to help Chelsea get ahead, to create something, to get into the right positions, to do the defensive work. Like, he's just such an impressive player. But other than that, I just felt like everybody, I don't know, I guess it's a confidence thing that if you're not playing well, you already go 1-0 down after 6 minutes, that, you know, they're
just
really
devastated, really. Yeah. I
I
also play football, and I can understand every emotion that our players are suffering from the match. And yeah, if you understand that nobody believes in you, nobody believes in your team, it's very tough to come back from that. But apart of that, if you're scoring a goal, you are growing in confidence. You can understand that even mountains can move, and you can do that. It's different thing, and hopefully they will get finally their confidence back.
I hope so. I really do. I miss having Chelsea win. It's just been so terrible to just, like, I tried to be as positive as possible on here and, you know, try to be upbeat and everything, but it's really hard when it's like
absolutely
bad results. So let's go back to the starting
trio.
Huh?
Attacking trio right now. So we should choose who will start in on the flanks and as a striker. Well, it's a tough one. It's a tough one, but I think Ziyech and Timo Werner should start at least for more combinational football with Kai Havertz and Mason Mount, of course, because they will be the bricks who will build our attacking structures all the time, and they're the most perspective ones for these roles. I hope that our favorite Tammy Abraham fan is not watching. And as for the left wing, I think Callum Hudson-Odoi still should start, and he was very, very good in December and at the start of this year. He was one of the brightest players for Chelsea for last 2 months, and he fully deserved to play more. But also there is a possibility that Christian Pulisic will start because he definitely is also lack of confidence. He is not dribbling through. He is not passing more sharpening through balls. He is not playing that. And I think against Luton, he can practice that a lot and gain this confidence for that. Because, yeah, Pulisic... we all saw what he can do on summer. He is tremendous, but since then, since that injury he got in the FA Cup final, he was never the same, to be honest. And hopefully he will also regain this confidence, his form, because he is a big player for us, and I hope personally that he will succeed finally.
I'm his biggest fan. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm the biggest Pulisic fan ever. I just adore the guy. Being American, we also have that. As Americans, we don't have any football players, especially in the Premier League, that get to such a high level. It's just insane. I'm super proud of him and everything that he's accomplished.
I think you still have Yedlin in Newcastle.
Okay,
an American one,
and I know have,
and that's it, I think, for now. Yeah,
we have oh my god, his name is escaping me, but he plays at Dortmund. Gio, I think. But he plays at Dortmund. He's 17 or 18. He's a young player, and I saw that.
Okay, yeah. I got who you mentioned, but I also forgot the surname.
Yeah,
but okay.
Yeah. Anyways, so I think with the attack, for Werner, it could be important to start him because, like I said, versus Morecambe, it could be a very good game for him to try to get some confidence back and to try to snag a goal. I actually did think that his cameo versus Leicester, he looked better. So maybe being on the bench that one day really lit a fire under his belly and like gave him that extra boost that he needed to say, no, I want to prove everybody wrong. I do not question for 1 second Timo Werner's mentality, because I do think that it's very, very good. And I do think that he's going to go on to score a lot of goals for Chelsea. So I do think that he did look pretty good after that game. I don't know if he would start versus Wolves necessarily anyways, so it could be a good game to play him in. And I would also start Ziyech. I don't think he came on versus Leicester as a sub, so I'm trying to think like, who's had the minutes. So I would start him, and then versus Pulisic. I think it's really going to come down to who Lampard feels that he can trust the most to get a result out of this game, because we know that it's an absolute must-win game for Lampard, and he's going to want to play players that he can trust and rely on. And at this point, it seems that he does trust Pulisic a little bit more than he does trust Callum. That's just kind of the vibe that I get. But I do think that Callum has been playing better than Pulisic. So it makes it really interesting. I don't know who he's going to choose. I would probably start Callum to give Pulisic some extra rest, because I think Pulisic will start versus Wolves. And then who better to bring on as a super sub, imagine, like to kill a game off than Christian Pulisic. I think that he can make a really big impact. And like you said, hopefully he can kind of use it. I don't want to say like as a training ground, because that sounds like really, really bad, but just to get a little bit more confidence and a slightly easier opponent than Leicester, so to speak, and help to get some confidence into the team as well and gain some chemistry and everything. So what do you think about how Lampard has been changing the starting 11 so much? That I know that we've had a lot of fixtures and that you do need to have some rotation in there. But what do you think about, we don't really know who's going to be in the midfield, who's going to be in the attack. Now, recently, we don't know who's going to be in the defense. What are your thoughts on that?
First of all, I have some previews for the match. I also do them for the Russian YouTube. And all the time I'm trying to predict the squad, and I really have some troubles in predicting it for the last months, because, as you already said, too many changes for the starting 11, and it's fun. it's fun to predict, at least. But
I always feel very proud of myself when I do it, because I'm like, oh, nobody got this right, and I got it.
I also do. But as for a pragmatic way, it's not so good, because we need to build chemistry, especially when we have 6 new players potentially playing in the starting squad, and you're changing all the time. It's not so good for the chemistry to build up. So maybe some of these changes should not be used previously, and maybe he should stick with with the less players instead. But I also can understand Lampard, because nobody is playing well right now, and exactly. He's trying to find at least someone who is in form. And he was also saying that at press conference that he has a big squad, and it's very difficult for him to choose 11 players who are definitely much better in form than others. And the main task for the manager is to pick the ones who are the most informed guys right now. Right now, it looks like nobody is in form except Mason Mount, Thiago Silva, and maybe Edouard Mendy. So I can understand these changes, but also I think that if you need to improve confidence, if you need to improve your chemistry, the build-up of the squad, you need to trust more players and select like a circle, like a bubble of players who will get their chances no matter what. Probably we have some of them. For example, Pulisic, he's most of the time he's in the squad when he's fit. Werner was also in this bubble, but he was thrown away by mainly, I guess, by the press and his underperforming lack of confidence. But for others, I don't see that there is a bubble. That there is no confidence for them. As Ruben Loftus-Cheek said yesterday or the day before yesterday, he had an interview where he was asked who is the best coach he had, and he said Sarri, because I understood what should I do. Sarri just told me which things I should improve. I improved them, and he just put me in the starting 11. That's how it works. And for Lampard, I guess it doesn't work like this, because, for example, Callum Hudson-Odoi, what should he do to start? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also love Pulisic very much, but yes, after Manchester City game, it was clear that Hudson-Odoi should start against Fulham, and he didn't.
Yeah, it was like a weird treatment. I think it's like a mix of Lampard, like you said, I think you hit the nail on the head, of Lampard trying to find the players that him trying to use the players that he bought or that the board bought, because it is a lot of money. And if you did spend that money on players, you probably should be playing them, but also trying to find a mix of players that he can rely on to actually get results for him. Because if you don't get results, then you're in a very tough situation. So it's just like this catch-22. Oh, I have to sneeze it. Thanks. It's just a catch-22. I think that nobody is really playing well, so it's very hard to pick a starting 11 and pick players, because nobody's performing. And like, I do think in order for our signings to perform, they probably have to be playing and get some chemistry with each other, but then they're not playing because they hadn't been playing well, and it's just this whole circle. And yeah, it's crazy. I just wanted to say thank you to this comment. It really means a lot. Like, following me, even though you support United, that's pretty cool. I put out fantasy videos for you guys if you do support rival teams, so that we can all come together on that one. We're coming off to the end of this stream. The sneeze just blew me away. So I said, I want to ask you one more question before we go. Do you think that this fan base would be accepting towards a more experienced manager with this project?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think that every day I'm thinking about that. No idea if the fans would be accepting that. No, I have an idea. I think no. I think fans won't accept that, and most of us would be already on the side of someone is out, should be out. But for Lampard, it doesn't work like this, because he is also an icon for this club. He is the greatest ever goal scorer and so on. Yeah, we should divide these points, Frank Lampard as a player and Frank Lampard as a manager. But still, it's one person. We cannot split a person. Not yet, at least as far as I know from science. But I still believe that if Roman Abramovich, he just decided to build up a project and just give somebody 2 years, it doesn't matter if it was Frank Lampard or, I don't know, Thomas Tuchel or whatever. If there is the same situation, I believe that Roman Abramovich would save him for these 2 years, because he promised them for him. And I do believe that mindset of our owner, it changed a lot. We should all stick to that, because I was just speaking about that last week. I just really asked myself, do you remember any club except Chelsea for last 5-6 years who is winning trophies and second managers in 1 year? Well, nobody, I guess. PSG maybe, but the Farmer League, we don't take them into consideration. Others, no, nobody. except Bayern and their last season. But we will see how it proceeds, because right now we see that the trend is coming for managers who have a dynasty in the club. So they're having like a Sir Alex Ferguson trend, Klopp, Guardiola. Pep is still not winning Champions League with Manchester City, and it's the main goal for them right now. And they're still prolonging his contract because they believe that one manager can do more, and he can stick to the club, and he can do small changes instead of inviting one new manager who will build just another squad for 1-2 years, and then it's ran out of service. Sorry, you need to buy an extra one. It's too much money, I think. And right now the owners, they really start to understand that.
Yeah, I think just like the continuous sacking just wasn't sustainable. And I do like the idea of having a project to build towards and giving managers time, because we've seen with Klopp at Liverpool, he had a project and he built it, and it took a couple of years, but he started filling in the gaps. With Pep as well, they weren't amazing to start off, and then they've become like a super team. So I don't know if fans would be necessarily more patient, because I think if we had this run of form with any manager, fans would be pretty pissed about it, rightfully so, because we haven't been winning games. But I think the part that makes me the most nervous is the way that we've been losing. It hasn't been a close loss, or it hasn't been something that I felt that we were really fighting and we got very unlucky not to at least get a draw out of the game. It just has not even looked close recently, and I think that I feel that there might be a lack of a game plan or a lack of tactics at some point, maybe some naivety. So I think that is like what I'm personally most frustrated with, and I hope that Frank Lampard can find a way to motivate the team to start getting some wins and to move forward from this, honestly. Yeah, so we've come to the end of the stream. We've already gone over an hour.
I would like one comment, please.
Yeah, go for it.
Just to add to your words, so I can see all these problems all the same from Frank Lampard, but it pisses me off because you remember last season, and it was never a problem to change any tactics, to find some confidence, to integrate some youth players and so on. Where did it vanish? So it's just a question without any answer. I don't get it.
It's been so weird. So we had that run and then it just disappeared. And I think it's really down to confidence and a little bit down to the teams that we were playing. I don't think we've beaten top 10 side so far in this league this season, which is like quite worrying, actually.
Yeah, that's very worrying. And for example, for the last season, when we were playing against Liverpool, when we played against Manchester City or whatever, we were playing tremendously. We were playing against Spurs like it was the last match of the lives of our players. So many passion, so many aggression, and so many building the tactics against every team. We knew that Lampard will have an individual plan that will help to win this game. Yeah, sometimes mentality was broken, and for example, we did lose for Bournemouth and some other weak teams, but we were playing very good against strong ones. Right now, it's vice versa.
Yeah, it's really worrying, but hopefully Chelsea can get this win versus Luton, can get a win versus Wolves on Wednesday. I'm feeling nervous for it, but what can you do? But I want to say, Kirill, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, Patrick, for your really nice comment. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have enjoyed the stream. I really like doing them. So, Kirill, thank you so much. Tell everybody where they can find you on social media and YouTube.
Yeah, so thank you also for for giving me a chance to get to your stream. It was a very nice one, I think. As for my social media, so you can see my nickname on the screen. It's on Twitter, and if you just type in Chelsea News, there is a YouTube channel. Unfortunately, it's in Russian, but hopefully someday I will start an English one when I get enough practice to do so.
No, your English is perfect. You definitely should. And in the meantime, you can find him on the Chelsea social as well. I know you do streams with them and videos as well,
Yes.
which is very cool. Yeah, so yeah, you guys know where to find me. You probably know me from Twitter. If you don't know me from Twitter, here's my, oh my God, I'm like terrible. Here's my handle.
Oh, like
Okay.
this, okay.
I'm gonna try. All right, there's my handle on Twitter. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. Really, really appreciate it. It means the absolute world to me. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another stream. Hopefully Chelsea can get the win. And yeah, up the Chelsea. I'm out.